Should we start? You can start. All right. Hi. Hello, everyone. Happy to see you all here in Amsterdam. My name's Dan. You maybe know me online as Nadako. I make a living developing games using Haxe and C#, but this talk though is about vshaxe, an extension that turns Visual Studio Code into a Haxe development environment of a kind. So yeah, I saw a lot of VS Code at this summit, which was very satisfying for me, but for those who still doesn't know or use it, let's outline some quick facts about it. So VS Code is a rather new code editor written by Microsoft. It's becoming more and more popular as it improves. It's totally free, developed on GitHub, and it's cross-platform. It's based on Electron, but unlike many other Electron apps, it seems to be quite solid actually and do the right thing in terms of performance. So that's nice. And I think VS Code authors have found this sweet spot between lightweight editors like Sublime Text and full-fledged development environments like Visual Studio, so they are providing best of two worlds here. And it also has a nice extension API, which can be used from any language that compiles to JavaScript, including, of course, Haxe, so that's also nice. Yeah, here, how does it look like? With a small code example from the Haxe website. As you can see, its design is pretty sleek and minimalistic, but there's actually a lot of functionality behind it, like code completion, navigation, or even debugging. So yeah, that's Visual Studio Code. And one of the cool things developed along with Visual Studio Code is the Language Server Protocol, or in short, LSP. What? Oh, I'm sorry. What does it want? Anyway, LSP. It's a specification that defines a protocol providing IDE services for any language, basically, and any editor. It's like simple JSON RPC based, and it's designed and already have a number of both clients, editors, and servers that provide support for different languages. So that's the idea. And you have this Haxe language server. It's one of the first language server developed by non-Microsoft, if not the first. It's Haxe language server. I started the project more than a year ago, and nowadays it works quite nicely. It completely encapsulates and controls Haxe completion server, so the Haxe compiler, and also adds a couple more features on top of it. It's written in Haxe, so it's quite easy to maintain, and while right now the primary focus of Haxe language server is to work with VS Code, it should be fairly easy to make it work with other clients. So if you are looking into making use of it in your editor, just contact us and we'll figure it out. Okay, let's move on to vshaxe itself. Originally, it's a name for a VS Code extension. Nowadays, it's an umbrella project hosting several repositories related to IDE support, some of which are not even directly related to VS Code. The extension itself is, of course, the primary focus of the development at the moment. It provides syntax coloring, completion, and other IDE features through the Haxe language server. Also, it provides nice things like tasks, so you can run your code, your build, and dependency, Haxe-lib dependency explorer, and other quality of life features. Just like the language server, the extension is also completely written in Haxe, which I think was unprecedented before in Haxe IDE world, at least if we consider serious attempts. So it's easy and fun to contribute to. In fact, nowadays, I'm not the only one working on the extension. We now have Jens, aka Gamma 11, who is actually doing more than me at this moment. And even Simon is contributing from time to time, so thank you guys for that. And yeah, by the way, Gamma has written really extensive documentation on vshaxe with pictures and examples. So yeah, this is not too common for open source projects. So check this out. So usability and extensibility. We are working on making vshaxe usage as frictionless as possible. And as we know, Haxe doesn't have any standard project file besides the XML files, which are basically just a list of compiler arguments. So to make completion work, we need to provide proper display arguments to Haxe server, which is something you would have to configure by hand in vshaxe in the past. But now we have this auto discovery of XML files for use for both completion and task running, so building, which allows for zero configuration for a lot of Haxe projects. Though this is not sufficient in Haxe world, because a lot of framework provide their own build tools and projects formats, so we have made vshaxe extensible in that regard. Now it exposes the API for third-party VS Code extensions to provide completion arguments to vshaxe. And Joshua Granick already developed such an extension for Lime, providing a way to use OpenFL and pure Lime projects in VS Code without any additional configuration. And we are looking forward to other frameworks being integrated similarly. Should be easy. What's also cool about this is that it's easy to switch between different completion configurations in complex hybrid projects. For example, if you have an OpenFL project and some unit tests that are being built with a simple HXML file, both will be available in vshaxe completion configuration selector. So that's nice. All right, as I mentioned before, Visual Studio Code is very extensible, and it doesn't require a lot of code and knowledge to write a plugin for it, unlike big IDEs. This means that as a VS Code user, you should consider writing custom tools on top of it to fill your specific needs and improve your workflow. So yeah, see the marketplace for inspiration. We provide a set of up-to-date Haxe externs for the whole VS Code API, along with a sample extension project and generated API documentation, so you can use Haxe for writing extensions. Yeah. So about our future plans, Haxe language server heavily relies on Haxe compiler to provide actual code hints, so we are working closely with the compiler to improve the quality of IDE services, and will continue to do so in future. This should benefit every editor and tool, not just vshaxe or Haxe language server, so this is nice. Also, Simon has a new parser for Haxe in development, which has some nice features like error tolerance and full fidelity code representation and incremental parsing. So we are looking into integrating this into a Haxe language server to make it aware of the code structure. And this is a good foundation for stuff like auto formatting and code generation, and even chances are that it will make it. Oh, sorry, it doesn't show anything anymore. All right. All right. So where was I? Yeah. Maybe it will make it into a Haxe compiler someday, so it will allow for better IDE services for everyone. And yeah, I missed me. As for the vshaxe extension itself, we want to further improve the ease of setup for different use cases and improve the debugging workflow for different Haxe targets. And we're also actively following VS Code development and adopting its new extensibility features quite early, like we did with the task API and TreeView API. So yeah, we are working on it actively. Yeah, that's all. If you have questions, please ask.